on this beautiful blue and green planet of ours. Your host BC here, Bisimoto. Team right behind me is working away on a very special project. Sorry I was a bit tardy today. It was a zoo this morning, picking up parts and also spending a lot of time at the Pomona DMV. Yep, next time I'm not going to Pomona. I'm gonna stay in Rancho or Norco, anywhere but Pomona. That was a bit of a zoo. Hello, Potato. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate the kind words. Ty, welcome down. Hello. Good afternoon, Coobs 954. And thanks for the kind gesture, sharing that I'm your favorite builder and more to come. You're gonna love what we have here. Minon 4Dub saying Honda legend himself. Thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate that. Once again, I must emphasize, without my team, I am nothing. Just love building cars. And yeah, you must know something, Kubies 954. Remember that Odyssey, which you still have? Still have it indeed. So I have a very nice array of activity with you here today. Forgive the noise, you hear them in the background working away, and that's quite normal here at the facility. That's what we're gonna talk about today. So I have right here in front of us, Instagram. To my side, one side is YouTube Live, other side is TikTok Live, and in the middle, I do record this interaction via podcast network. So if you love Spotify podcasts, if you love Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, if you still have access to Anchor, whatever the case may be, just do a nice search for Bisimoto and we'll come up. Saw some very good questions here. Let's see. How's Ioniq N? Says Ty, welcome down. Good afternoon to you, Nolan Stunt. What's up with the Ioniq 5N, says Motec N. Great question. So if you remember, I think you suggested this, Motec N, for me to play around with the Ioniq 5N last year. And based upon your influence, we immediately got one here. So we drove 2024. It was awesome, fun. The most fun I've had with under 650 horsepower. That thing was amazing, so much fun. I was very skeptical with the artificial or enhanced sounds that it had. It had the ignition mode, had a supersonic mode, also had another mode that imitated, actually, I would say one was a more internal combustion sound, other one was like a jet fighter sound with afterburner, and the last one was like a Formula E kind of setup. And then I did some videos, some streams where I was kind enough to capture the sound, but my sound equipment didn't capture the frequency, so it sounded very, very synthesized. Well, I found out that a new 2025 came out, and I wanted to find out from Hyundai what the differences were, and boy, they made so many improvements. A lot of them are amazing. One I'm not too keen on, but it's been absolutely fantastic nonetheless. So, what are some of the benefits that I've seen with this versus 2024? The 2025, they say, is very similar in terms of power, but this one seems way faster. The graphics on the screen is absolutely amazing. This is way more fun than the Ioniq 5N compared to last year. The sounds are even more realistic, even though I was skeptical last year and didn't know if I'd like it. It is actually pretty cool. Even for someone who's a diehard enthusiast, after a while, I do like the ICE kind of sound to it, and the shift points, it feels like a very stern DCT. One thing I did notice under 2025 that I didn't find appealing was they kind of took the DCT internal combustion feel a little bit step further by when you floor it and have fun and let off, it coasts quite strongly. And I don't like that coast. I'm used to, even with petrol cars, you let off and it kind of has some engine braking. This one kind of coasts quite rapidly for a while and then it slows down. And took a little bit of getting used to, so that's the only thing. Apart from that, this thing is fun. I love it. It is the most fun, honestly, I've had on a commercially available, non-Bisimoto built EV. It's just a lot of fun. So Hyundai, keep doing what you're doing. High endurance race performance accident. Will you be racing Booster Boys? Is there a race event coming up I'm not aware of? I race anyone who lines up with me. No problem whatsoever. 64 Steve says, hi, BC Civic Wagon King. Hello, thank you so much for joining. We need another Porsche that says Undoing Garlic. Well, we have quite a few coming out. Jonathan just finished last week, working on the cage on a 935 that we're working on right now. Another one should come back from paint next week, and he's gonna, there's some, I don't know, can you guys see up there? There's some poles right here. That's some cage material that he's gonna build another 6-point cage and another Tribute 935 coming into the shop. And this would be 2 different styles, both internal combustion, both futuristic. It's gonna be absolutely fantastic. So it should be good. Hey, BC, says Warren Fella on YouTube Live. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. How's your day going so far? Says Lawrence. So far, so good. I'm not wearing a jacket. That's a good thing, right? It's warm here in Southern California. We've had 2 days, north 80 degrees Fahrenheit days, which is quite fantastic. Then it cools down after tomorrow, which is still okay, but it's been nice to have some sun here in Southern California, which is good. Wagon van, we need another build. So are you saying you need another wagon build? Will the Prologue we built last year fit the bill because it is very wagon-esque in nature and we paid homage with the livery and the colors as well? Let me know. Battle of the Odysseys, what you say, says Endurance Performance. It's like Endurance Performance, I don't know what car you have. Let's say you have, I don't know if you have a Civic there. It's like telling you to race every Civic that's ever built. So it's funny, I keep getting told to race every minivan that's being built. As a matter of fact, Jonathan and Nick are working on another minivan there. Maybe I should race that too. Every minivan that's built, I should race it. Kind of weird. Race it. That kind of doesn't make sense. Is that electric, says Torque? Yes. The vehicle behind me is a 640 horsepower plus all-wheel drive electric, which is so much fun and will embarrass a lot of cars out there. North of 800 volt architecture, which is quite different from a lot of 400 volt systems. Very repeatable, lots of fun, has simulated sounds, whether you want to sound like a Formula E race car, if you want to sound like a jet fighter, if you want to sound like a petrol engine, it does all of it quite well, and they've had significant improvements from last year. So kudos to Hyundai for doing a great job, you know? Let's see here. Does the brake lights come on as the vehicle slows down? I've seen some controversy about this potentially being a safety issue, says Potato Joe. Yes. It happens on this and every electric car we build. So whenever regeneration comes on, that's when you let off the throttle, and instead of using brakes to slow down or in internal combustion opportunities, engine braking, it slows down the chassis and puts that puts that energy back into the battery pack. So those drive units you see, or maybe you haven't seen them, but these drive units that exist that propel the car, not only are they absorption units, they're also generators as well. So it has the opportunity to create mobility forward and act as an absorption unit to take energy back in and convert back to direct current into the battery. So it helps your range significantly. So what we typically do, and most OEMs, that's where we learned it from, is when you let off and regen comes on and slows on the car, you want brake lights to come on for safety of those behind you because you are slowing down. It's almost like applying a brake pedal, but this time you're doing things kind of digitally. So from our Model 3 to our Tesla Plaid to this factory vehicle, they all have it. And so does the EVs that come out of Bisimoto engineering. Hope that helps. Cool shirt, says SkyCloud87. Thank you, kind words. This is a shirt that I developed during my stint with Moto Mythbusters, which is now, by the way, shown on HBO Max. If you've seen it, both Faye, Tori, and I had a blast putting together and debunking myths or have an opportunity to solidify certain myths in automotive culture. Take a look, and it was a lot of fun to create. And this shirt is one of the shirts I wore on that show, so it was a lot of fun. It's like a petrol versus EV. Who's gonna win? We'll find out. Okay, let's see. I still remember when Binda Odysseys? I don't know what Binda is. Celebrated amongst a niche group for having the same motors NSX as original David Jackson. The NSX had, if you're talking about the NA1 and NA2s, those have a C series, C as in Charlie series engine, both 3.0 liter for the earlier versions and 3.2 for the latter versions, which were V6s, but quite different in terms of architecture, configuration, cam and crank pickups, V angle, bore size, rod material, crank configuration. It's a very different engine from the J series, which exists in the Accords and Odysseys. So even though structurally they are Honda V6s, they do have some nuances that kind of set them apart quite significantly. And even the VTEC on the NSX was derived from Formula One and hit the streets initially in that and continue with the S2000 and continues with today's kind of Honda technology when it comes to internal combustion. While the VTEC assembly on most Odysseys and the J35s and other J series tend to exist as a cylinder cutoff or cylinder degeneration, or it's gonna get vehicle, it's like almost like cylinder management, where it makes the vehicle act like a smaller displacement engine, like a 3 or 4 cylinder, giving you economy. So the VTEC, in that case, reduces power to allow you to have good economy, while other ones have VTEC to increase power and have a flatter torque curve and make your driving experience even more fun. So a lot of differences between those two power plants. Something else is that the C-Series V6 seems to be a global product, while North America is typically where the J-Series does exist. And of course, J-Series are way more cost effective than what you may see with the C-Series from the NSX. So hope that helps. Can you go to our Porsche Cars and Coffee event in Tustin this Saturday? So Nolan Stunt, unfortunately, I cannot. Jonathan and I are gonna be driving a couple of cars to the Porsche Ontario event, Cars and Coffee, this coming Saturday, same time as yours. Tustin is awesome, great area, not too bad a trek from here in Orange County, but unfortunately we'll be in Ontario doing something similar to you out there. So Nolan Stunt, keep me posted, maybe in the future I can come out and hang out with you guys. Are hybrid electric vehicles reliable and easy to work on, says Jacques Tara. It's almost like asking, are internal combustion engines easy to work on? And of course, you cannot paint a white brush over them. Some older legacy internal combustion engines are easy to work on. Some modern day ones, or even old school, smaller displacement ones were hard. So it depends. By far, electric vehicles seem to be extremely reliable compared to the petrol counterpart. If you think about some of the components that exist with each kind of power plant, there's much less moving parts on electric vehicles compared to petrol engines. I mean, think about a petrol engine. Just on the main components, you have a connecting rod, which has bearings on the bottom of that. You have a crankshaft. Then you have a piston with the pins and the locks, and also the rings. Then you have the valve train with the camshaft, valve springs, retainers, keepers, cam gear keys, cam gear bolts, the head gasket, or head studs, crank studs, oil pan, pulleys. It's an intake manifold. It's a lot of components going on in internal combustion, right? Well, electric motors, you think about it, you have windings, a rotor, you may have a few bearings here and there, and in units that have integrated inverters and motors and transaxles, you have a couple of gear sets, right? So that being said, much simpler, less friction parts to wear out. You seem to see a lot more longevity. You don't even have to change the oil for hundreds of thousands of miles on electric vehicles. Well, of course, we all know we have to do with cooling systems and also oil systems and internal combustion. Now, the hybrid, in my opinion, is almost the worst of both worlds because you have a petrol engine with all its nuances, made it to an electric setup, which all has all its nuances as well. Sometimes they coexist as some kind of integrated motor assist. Sometimes they're separate units where certain drive wheels are done electric-wise and petrol, so you kind of combine or compound the two. And then you have an engine management solution that needs to be able to make sure that everything works in unison. So if I had to, in a very simplistic, wide brush manner, with slight deviations, right? I would say electric motors are the most reliable and less easy to work on. There's less moving parts. Then petrol engines, and then the hybrids. Now keep in mind, if you're talking about working on to be able to take care of safety stuff, of course I do have a lot more safety protocols with EVs. If you're talking about modifications, we're starting to get into the era where, of course, petrol engines had a 100-year advantage, right, over EVs, modern day EVs. So there's a lot more support and aftermarket parts, but there's a plethora of opportunities with electric vehicles like that to be able to flash them to get more power, to be able to modify the inverter, the DC accordingly. We use standalone solutions from AEM for our electric builds, so it allows us to be able to tune torque curves like you would tune internal combustion engine vehicles with fueling and ignition timing and cam control. We do something similar with EVs with torque management and be able to make sure the BMS is obeyed and keep things safe with batteries, because just like how you can blow an engine up with 200 boost, you can demand significant amount of amps from a battery and make it unstable as well. So there's so many nuances there. I'm trying to comprise it and make it quite simple for everyone. But hopefully that helps. And thanks for that great question, Jax Terra. Appreciate that indeed. Have you been making any prototypes we need to look out for, says Red Flag Industries LLC? Depends. We've done quite a bit with internal combustion engines, especially in the Porsche arena. Right now, the team is working on a very unique kit that should be out very soon, so we're prototyping for that. Doing some one-off stuff with some hypercars here as well. So all I can say is pay attention to our feed. If you haven't subscribed to the Bisimoto YouTube channel, please do. We'll have the opportunity to launch some really cool products that you will find very appealing, whether you're petrol, electric, or hybrid. I need a new job, but I don't finish school or have the skills. I work security, says Isaiah. So Isaiah, like anything else in life, you have to work towards a goal. If your goal is to be successful and do some great things, whether you want to do something that's blue collar, white collar, or otherwise, you do have to take the specific steps to be able to learn a craft and execute. So if you need a new job and it's something that requires certain skill sets, my advice to you would be to pursue said skill sets through education or through internships or both. My brother BC says, Tuna No Crust Garage. Love the excitement catching the stream and love to have you here, sir. Appreciate you indeed. Update on the solar group project, he said. Inverter number 2 is up. 240 is almost live. Let me know. I love what you're doing. I think you had a mishap not too long ago. I think the winds or something like that. But by all means, please keep me posted. Any benefit for running water methanol on a natural aspirated hot rod air-cooled Porsche engine, says Timber Gleason? Absolutely. For those of you who don't know about what he's saying, what is water meth? It is a type of technology or kit that allows you to enhance the octane ratings of the fuel you're running. It came from World War II, when fighter jets had difficulty finding proper jet fuel, which many times in today's standards are like really purified kerosene. But anyway, I digress. It was hard to find high quality fuel during the war. And what they had to do, they had to inject water into the plane engines to allow it to have very nice anti-knock properties. So not only does it cool down the intake charge quite nicely, it allows you to simulate a higher octane fuel. Fast forward to today with modern nozzle technology, high efficiency pump systems, and so on and so forth. Water methanol is a good way to make a 91 octane, that some people refer to as urine here in California, into a 93, 98, almost 100 octane fuel, depending on your amount of injection of water methanol mixture, which is like a 50-50 typically, by volume of methanol and ideally as well deionized water. And the reason why you have to add water to it is because methanol is quite flammable, and when it burns, you can't even see the flame. It's like a light blue. So if this car was on methanol fire, you just see the panels melting, and you won't even know it's on fire. It's not a bright yellow or red or even white flame. It's just this kind of subtle blue, which is kind of weird. So to prevent that from happening, you add some water. It makes it much safer, and then you inject it into your intake system. Now, we've done everything from individual port injection with water methanol to my Wagon, the Wagon I made 724 horsepower with, the D series. I had a very nice water methanol kit with 91 octane facing opposite the stream of the injection, about 6 to 8 inches away from my throttle body, and it just worked extremely well. My twin turbo Porsche, which was the 850 horsepower Ioniq, also had that. I ran 91 octane on that as well, and had 2 560 nozzles, so it worked quite well. We've had customers with one guy in particular, Cali Daddy was his screen name. I think he's still active on many social networks. He had an Integra 4-door with a GSR engine boosted, and he had individual nozzles in each runner, and he ran quite well with that, and was raping people on the street, just killing it out there. So it allows you the opportunity to simulate. So for an air-cooled engine, I see significant advantages, because for those of you who may not know, air-cooled engines have these heat exchanger fins on the head that help keep the intake and also the heads cool, so the combustion chamber can ward away any kind of detonation. But it's not as efficient as a water-cooled system. So that being said, a water methanol kit allows you to appropriately inject water and methanol matrix into the intake, cool down to allow you to have a more denser intake charge for more power, and make your fuel act like a higher octane fuel. So in natural aspirated setups, you can get away with a lot more timing for more power, a lot more compression for more power, and in boosted applications, you can safely go to higher boost and have a blast as well. So Timber, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your amazing question, indeed. Let's see. What do you think of the K20A2? I love those engines. I like them a lot, Anthony Soto. Find them very appealing, and they have a very amazing aftermarket support as well. What's your favorite ECU for Honda, says Pai Mei? For me, it really has been the AEM Infinity because it allows me the opportunity to have a motorsport capable ECU for all parameters, safety, fueling, ignition, cam timing, even drive-by-wire if so need be, closed-loop knock function, closed-loop O2 feedback that's extremely fast, and you can play around with the rate of quickness based upon RPM and also load. But it does all that on a motorsport budget where you don't have to buy options to unlock. So unlike Motex, you don't have to buy that. So that's my favorite. Now for people who are actually either on a budget and or have the opportunity to have something that's very modern, let's say like the newer Civic Type Rs, the newer L series based SIs, any of the newer Hondas, instead of putting an engine management solution that's a full standalone, you can go with a flashing option from Hondata. So when it comes to those newer vehicles, the Hondata Flash solution is something I find appealing. But for anything that's absolutely fantastic, I love AM Infinities. And I run them exclusively. Everything from my Porsche to Hondas, I love them a lot. They have traction control, so many great functions, I love it. Just good. Did you use 5W20 in your CRZ L15A build as Dave Roy? Yes, I did. Absolutely. I used a Purell 5W20 with much success. Tornado Cross Garage says, on a budget, you can do it yourself with a PO6 and add mods and add a Hondata. So what he's talking about is S300, which is a very basic ECU. Has a lot of limitations, however. Very cost effective, but you do get what you pay for. And that's why I mentioned AEM, because, for example, if I compare the AEM Infinity to the S300 Hondata, S300 doesn't allow me to do direct coil unplug, where I can do that with Infinity. Doesn't allow me to have a very high-end O2 feedback, and I cannot do knock control at all. You don't have any knock control functions whatsoever, and if you somehow cleverly initiate it, there's no way to be able to monitor knock per cylinder. Sometimes you can have an engine where one cylinder, especially number 3, runs a little hotter than the rest. And if a knock comes on board, if you have a bad batch of fuel or like driving around a hot day like this, and you have an opportunity to have slight knock or detonation, the AM Infinity can reduce timing and add fuel in that one cylinder and keep you safe. You won't even know what's going on and you won't see a very huge power loss. I can't do that with S300s. When it comes to flex fuel, the S300 has a global flex fuel capability. In other words, you want to add fuel, ignition timing, you kind of have to do it globally, all over the entire map, while with AEM, you can have a dedicated flex fuel map and interpolate between your E10 petrol gasoline, your E85 setup, and you can have any ratio without qualm, and you can adjust and control boost based upon your ethanol content. It's night and day. A motorsport ECU versus a PO6 or P28 infused chipping capability, it's night and day. Quite different, you know? And to know Cross also makes a good point. By the time you add all the Hondata components, you may have paid for a basic AEM though. That is correct. That's correct, you know? All right, whatever happened to the Wagon van, says Fat Charlie Tattoo here on TikTok, and he's over here laughing. Here. That's Nick laughing because he hears this all the time. Wagon and Odyssey all the time. Okay, V1 Wagon with a D series front wheel drive was parted out years ago because people kept trying to steal it and I got tired of it. V2 Wagon is here in the showroom and I'm really considering, that's the reason why I was at DMV. I'm considering doing a giveaway with that vehicle. So that being said, I was at DMV today because I have all my paperwork, but I want to kind of put the title in my name so I can be able to do a giveaway for you guys. That's why I was there. I'm late to this Tech Tuesday because I was at DMV for that wagon. And a couple other things, but mostly the wagon. So still have that going on. I will keep you guys all posted, but still have it, you know? My pleasure, Potejo. It's pretty cool, I like that indeed. You should build a K car, build a Honda Beat, make 2, 1 electric and 1 K series. Jax Tara, I love how you think. And I'm sure the team will be more than happy to explore that as well. I daily the wagon, says To the No Cross Garage, and I did daily the first one. And that was my problem. You know, the team and I will always build cars to be driven. We don't build dyno queens. We don't build shop queens. We don't build museum queens. There's kind of one queen here next to me, but it's not by design. It's because the interior is falling apart. I see it like coming apart right now. Anyway, that's why it's here and not being driven around. But once I repair that, it'll be on and cracking. But anyway, I digress. So that being said, yeah, I'm all about it. And the Wagon was, but people kept trying to steal it. So I got tired of the first version. So to no cross, yeah, dating is fun until you come out from the mall in Point of Hills and go in your car and you see a bunch of guys around it and you go up to them thinking that they are admiring it and you tell them about all the cool stuff and they have a Slim Jim. It's kind of annoying. Thank you, Pai Mei. Appreciate the kind words. Love your screen name, by the way. I married my queen, not to keep her in the garage under a car cover. It says to no cross. Haha, very funny, very, very funny. Thank you, Pai Mei. Appreciate you indeed. Honda City says Fat Charlie Tattoo. Everyone's about the K cars and they're becoming pretty cost effective, right? And Fat Charlie Tattoo, thank you so much for my gifter badge number 2 on TikTok. Appreciate you indeed. Creative Cut Studio, Sticker Studio also gave me a gifter badge as well. Appreciate you indeed. And sent me a lightning bolt 2 times. Appreciate the kind gestures. Makes me feel great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No worries. That's going to be a great show as well, says Nolan Shunt. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you indeed. Original David Jackson says, great explanation. I'm a stand-up comic and videographer. Let me know if there's anything or anyone I can help with or add value as far as writing or help shooting. I appreciate you. Thank you, Original David Jackson. Appreciate you indeed. And for the gesture as well. Yoshi Build, where have you been? Hello, good seeing you as well. BYD cars can charge in full 5 minutes with 1,000-watt chargers, says Dr. Ron GPT on TikTok. And yes, I've heard about that technology, not here in the US. Some serious cooling there with some of the charging stations. This can charge quite rapidly as well, within 15 minutes to 80%, which is good because of its architecture. And you definitely have to have a 350 kilowatt charger plus to make that happen. China is ahead of us here in the US when it comes to EV technology, so I'm not surprised at all that that's becoming quite popular. What's your NE build? What is it? Pame, what do you mean by NE? Let me know, please. If you're not here for automotive knowledge, BC pumps the positivity vibes. Thank you so much. New build. Okay, what's your new build? I'm not at liberty to say yet. It's a surprise. But I can tell you one thing. It's front-wheel drive. It's an H badge and it has a huge volume interior. That's all I can say. All right, you guys are gonna love it. I have a feeling that this car that the team's working on right now is gonna break the internet. I mean it. Hi BC, I asked a question last week about my 07 Acura TLS. You mentioned that my goal of 400 and 500 wheel horsepower would not be a good idea with a 5-speed auto. Is it worth to try and convert that car? Yes, it is. That gearbox would not like anything north of a proper 350. Would not like it at all. So yes, convert that thing. You will love it. You will not regret it at all. Honda Element. I'll give you another hint. It's 2025. That's all I can say. Elements don't exist this year.
It's white.
And it's white. He's giving away too much now. Are you Ontario event? Johnny Get from TikTok is asking. I'm in Ontario, California. Yes, we're here. And behind me is a 2025, speaking of that, 2025 Flying H brand Ioniq 5N. The most fun I've had in quite a while with less than 700 horsepower. How cool is that? And I saw some big differences between the 2024 model and this 2025 model. A lot more technology, feels a lot faster, even though they say it has the same power. The interface, human-machine interface is very nice, very vibrant. A lot more features into the vehicle itself. The sounds are a lot more realistic. Has a weird coast function that happens when you're in the N or N plus mode, which is kind of unsettling because it kind of coasts a little bit more rapidly than I'd like. But apart from that, it's a fantastic car. This thing will embarrass a lot of people on and off the track. Something else I noticed I couldn't do last time is you can play with the interior and exterior volume of the sounds of the car. So I think it was somewhat fixed or had limited sound capability last year. This one, you have full volume control if you want to hear all the hot boy action outside and nothing inside, or vice versa, or the combination of the two, you can do that. And when I say hot boy action, I mean hot boy action, because this thing has verbal backfiring. It has the shifting function that you feel and hear. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, how does the Hyundai handle? Like crazy. Full electronic shock suspension. You can have from very soft, tame setup, which shows up as one kind of shock absorber, to a full stiff track trim, which shows up as 3 shock absorbers, red shock absorbers on the screen. And you can combine that anyhow you want with the Eco, normal, or sport mode. You can even do that in terms of the N or N plus modes. There's even a boost, NGB boost button that's red that can give you 10 seconds of amazing boost where I feel that it just ignores certain safety protocols and just gives you all the power to your inverter. It's just so amazing, you know? What's a good laptop tune with? A laptop to oh, laptop, okay. Because you said laptop. So if I may, I've had a lot of success with Acer and Asus computers. So my Acer computer is a very cost-effective 15-inch unit. And I bought it on Amazon for about $400 and it's quite nice. I could tune with it quite nicely. If you want something where you can do a lot of tuning and do some scanning and even 3D renders and drawing with, you need something with a lot more memory, much faster RAM. You need something north of 32 gigabytes. You need at least 1 terabyte of data to be able to handle that as well. Oh, you love cost effective? Then yeah, the Acer is the way to go. There's an Acer, I wish I had, give me a second. Let me do this. Let me do this for you guys. I'll show you my two laptops, and I do not have my high-end acronym-based laptop. So this right here, that's my Acer computer. This is my Acer computer, and it's an Aspire 3 15-inch. So that's it. So this is what I use for tuning. And it's more than adequate for all my tuning needs. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty cost effective too, because this one does not have a lighting up screen, so that's okay. But it does have the capability with multiple USB outputs, everything from USB-C to the older, larger USB setups as well. Pretty decent capability. You can easily update Windows to this as well. And I have Windows 360 and all that fun stuff, so it's pretty nice. So they don't sponsor me. I just bought this, and you can get this for less than $400 on Amazon. And it's very capable, not only for tuning EVs, but tuning petrol cars. I even have Fusion 360 on here, so I do some drawing here as well. I also have the programming for my 3D printer on this as well, a flash forge up front. So I'm able to use this to do that. So it's quite useful, and I use this for traveling and watching stuff on the telly if I'm on the plane screen. However, I do have an Asus ROQ, courtesy of our friends from Acronym. It's a very nice computer. That one has a lot more RAM and ROM than this. And above and beyond that, has an amazing NVIDIA card for gaming. 32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte on the hard drive. Pretty nice, and I can use that for 3D scanning, which needs a lot of memory. So it's good. Tunnel Cross says, yes, looking for one with a dedicated graphics card, not integrated, best bang for buck. Understood. Oh, no worries, you're good. The team is working here. They're doing some really crazy stuff here, which is quite nice. But good questions, guys. I'm so proud of you guys. You guys have great questions. Almost like I should push my Tech Tuesdays to north of 12 p.m. You guys have great, maybe at 12 p.m. a lot of people are on lunch or something like that, you know? Makes sense, says Boy Toy Clique. Thank you so much. I have $7K to buy a car, but don't know what to get. I want to do time attack. Ooh. 7,000. Jeez, that's tough. And if that's what time attack. Damn. The only thing you can get with that's a lot of fun and allows you opportunity to make some money as you save money. Miata? Maybe. He's the RX-7.
Civic.
He's a Civic. Front wheel drive for time attack?
Hell yeah.
What am I surprised Jonathan's just saying that? I guess the Civic will fit the bill if you don't mind the front wheel drive. I wouldn't leave it anywhere near stock. Jonathan says Civic. I say rear-wheel drive Miata. But you have a couple options. $7,000 is not a lot for a time attack car. Yeah, some cages will cost more than that. But nonetheless, yeah, hopefully Jonathan and I were able to help you. Marsha, how do you say it? Marsh Velo N says, intercooler you worked on with the Veloster N is working great. Thank you so much. We have a lot of pride. I think I still have the prototype up there. Yeah, I have a prototype up there. The first one we did, where we kind of had a prototype made, and then we end up having something very, very nice manufactured as well. It is an intercooler system for the Veloster N and the i30N, which allows you to have no pressure drop more than factory, but the surface area cooling is absolutely fantastic. The factory intercooler leaves a lot on the table in terms of efficiency. So we have something that's very efficient and doesn't allow you, and you don't have to cut up your car to be able to fit it. And it looks awesome. And it's within a collaboration between us and CSF, still available. You can go to Bisimoto web store. I need to do a better job in really reminding everyone that exists, because it is literally the best intercooler on the market, period, for the i30N and Veloster N. So thank you so much, you know? Finding a Miata for $7K without being heavily modified or beat is hard to find. If you do, get it. Yes, so Tinder Cross is good to look at in SoCal towards Palm Springs. There are quite a few out there that are unmolested, not beat up. And sometimes you can get a better deal with something that's modified and go to town with it, especially if he's going to do time attack. I'm sure he's going to rip that thing like crazy. What can I do to my 2.0 CVT Kona? Unfortunately, CVT is a limitation, but you can flash that. You can do an intake and exhaust. But the weak point in that Kona is the CVT. That CVT is not very potent. It's adequate, but not super strong. So you can go crazy with horsepower, unfortunately. Gifter badge from K Dilla, SRT8. Thank you so much. K Dilla, appreciate the kind gesture. Also, Sexy Beast 7217 gave me a gifter badge, #1 here on TikTok. Appreciate you indeed. What's your take on avgas, says Trey Villian. Believe it or not, it was really a very popular speed secret back in the 90s. But you know the funny thing? Avgas has no oxygen. Avgas has an okay octane rating, but the caloric content of it is not as good as a lot of race fuels. So we have seen people lose power on avgas. Aviation fuel to some extent. Proper jet fuel is kerosene, but avgas is a little different. It more moves towards gasoline. But unfortunately, even with a higher octane rating, the fact that it burns a little slower, because of its composition, doesn't make a ton of power. You're better off getting like a VP C16 or C14. You'll make more power with it. So that's my take on it. And this is coming from, not hearsay, my personal experience. Is that the crazy 640 horsepower Hyundai? Yes, it is. This thing is fun. I tell you guys, it's out of control. Fun, fun, fun. MATT, thank you so much for the #3 gifter badge here on TikTok. Appreciate your presence indeed. What happened? That happened to at Texas 2K with one of the GTRs. What happened? Tell me. I didn't see your comment. Forgive me. Can you not be rude? Says Zach Womack. Can you not be rude? I've never heard that. I've never been rude. My team is looking like, what's going on there? What transmission did you use in the Genesis coupe you built? Oh, not you. Oh, someone else. Okay, it's someone else. Okay, no problem. Somebody in the comments. Okay. Person in the comments, don't be rude. Okay, thank you. What transmission did I use in the Genesis coupe I built? Factory. You notice I didn't do a ton of drag racing with that because I didn't know what the factory one could do. So all the things I did was a lot of rolling starts, and the transmission, it held 4 figures. It held 1,000 horsepower, guys. But I never dumped the clutch on that thing in first gear, so I don't know what's going on. Let's see here. BZ is never rude. Yeah, he already corrected Ezekiel. He said he was talking to someone else on YouTube who's misbehaving, you know? Given your experience and knowledge, is there a program or route you recommend for someone wanting to begin a career in the EV space? That's a great question. There are classes out there where they do kind of teach you the basics of EV performance. I know that EV West does something. I haven't attended myself. For me, unfortunately, since a lot of people in the industry, when I started as far back as 2018, were keeping cards close to their chest and acting like EVs are some kind of black magic, I had to turn to a lot of my friends in the OEM space to learn the technology and read lots of books. Because a lot of times the forums were littered then with misinformation. Nowadays, if you go on DIY electric car, which is online forum, you can learn quite a bit. There's a little bit also, no, the other forum is a little too open source, so I wouldn't do that. But DIY electric is a good one. Once in a while, companies like AEM will offer classes and it's good to attend. But definitely looking for some places that are very, very reputable. The classes are good. If you do have a speed shop nearby you that also specializes in EVs, interning there or working there part-time can also be very nice as well. So that being said, there are opportunities there indeed. So thank you so much for asking. Okay, let's see here. Congrats on Paula Thomas Studio. Thank you so much, Paolo. Very talented concept artist. Appreciate you indeed. Roka Dapa, thanks for the #2 gift of bag. Joe Dirt, S2. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for joining. I have a Genesis 3.0. What can I do to make it faster? Do you know your Genesis 3.8 with the Lambda engine is one of my favorite internal combustion engines ever? Give me a magic wand, I will put that thing in everything. The head flow, superb. And by far, internal combustion engines, the opportunity for power is in the head. And if you look at the ports on that head of yours and the intake manifold flows amazing. Do you know that I put your throttle body of the Genesis on some Porsches? Do you know that a Genesis throttle body is on my Civic Wagon? It's big, it's drive-by-wire, it's awesome. I love that engine. Do you know that your crank is supported by 6? I'll repeat. Do you know your crank is supported by 6-bolt mains from factory? Something you would see on high-performance Chevrolets comes factory. Comes factory Genesis 3.8 engine. What can you do to make that faster? Intake, header, exhaust, lightweight, which by the way, our friends from DriveShaft make this, lightweight center differential, not center differential, lightweight drive shaft. They have one made out of carbon fiber. You can get a lightweight flywheel and clutch, which quite a few companies make as well. You can flash the factory ECU to be able to make more power as well. What we did to make over 1,000 horsepower is we pulled the whole engine apart, sleeved it, aftermarket rods from Brian Crowler, custom piston from Trom. We poured the heads, used Bisimoto valve train and camshafts. Then we put twin 58mm turbos on it, ran off flex fuel, got rid of the GDI or the gasoline direct injection, retrofitted port injection into the intake manifold, and boom. Tuning on AM Infinity that I talked about earlier on, we were good to go. It was amazing. Tell you guys, that engine, don't sleep on it. So much potential and quite robust. Love it, love it, love it. Kudos to Hyundai, and for this one too, for building such an amazing engine. Love it, love it, love it. It is way over-engineered. Shout out to DMV, says Boy Toy Click. Yeah, they kicked my butt today. And guess what? I have to go back again in the next week or so. How crazy is that, you know? Sounds like a blast. Yes, indeed, Jedi from YouTube. Appreciate you indeed. Do you still have the van? Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, it's in front of my house. As I was leaving today to go to DMV, there were some representatives from the gas company, and they were like, oh my God, that van is so cool. You know, I still have it. Still got it, still got it, still got it. No problem whatsoever. Good day, Artec Moto. Love seeing you here, and thank you so much for joining the Bisimoto Tech2sday video. And 5N, woo, let's go, says it's AJF. Yep, fun car. Prelude build, I'm on it, I'm trying. I am doing what I can to try and get a Prelude here to build one. That'd be so amazing, you know? I know you're drag racing, but I love time attack. What would you recommend, says Palme? I do it all. Yes, I hone my teeth in drag racing. But you know what's funny about drag racing? You spend so much money and time to spend less and less time on the track. The more money you spend, the more involved you get, the shorter your runs. And then I got into road racing, which was fun. And we talked about AJ a moment ago. Good friend of mine, AJ, taught me the ropes on how to be a better road racer. Same with Sam Rothschild, taught me a ton as well. And it's great because it's like drag racing, but you have corners and you have a lot of time on the track, which is a lot of fun, right? So we have a couple of center seats. I love mid-engine Porsches. Boxers, Caymans, I love those things. So over there, I have a couple of those and I love using them. So I'm all about it. I love all type of racing power, mate, by all means, you know? For a D-Season Y8 limited to a 25 pound per 1 horsepower time trial class, modification worth, or is it just focused on maintenance and reliability? I'm trying to understand what DTV is saying. For a Y8 limited to 25 pounds per horsepower time trial class. Oh. I would maintain our blueprint, maintain and reliable, especially since you have 25, you have horsepower per pound. I would focus on maintenance and reliability. That's what I would do. Because anyone with higher horsepower still has a weight penalty. And the fact that you can get a car as light as possible and fall within a particular horsepower class is the way to go. But the key to winning is to finish the race. So maintenance and reliability is paramount. And there's small stuff you can do to give you an edge, make it happen. There's also something you can do, and hopefully I'm not being a little too cheeky here. If they're focusing on peak horsepower, there are modifications you can do to improve your bottom end, mid-range, and area under the curve, but leave your horsepower the same. You can do that with tuning. You can pick up a ton of bottom end, a ton of mid-range. You can do stuff with horsepower, in terms of camshaft, valve train, induction, exhaust, and then do whatever you need to do to make sure that your peak horsepower stays the same, if that's what they're looking at. So when you're tested or you're put on a dyno, let's say your peak horsepower is 130 horsepower, you can have way more torque down low, way more horsepower down low by freeing up those restrictions in the exhaust and the intake, by using a camshaft that's designed for that. And now you're able to eat your kick and have it too. You have a reliable, fast setup that falls within the weight class that you want to exist in. Hopefully that helps. All right. Let's see here. Porsche Interior Show is actually on Sunday, March 30th, not Saturday. Oh, I didn't know that. Wait a minute. Jonathan, is Porsche Interior Saturday or Sunday?
I have it down for Saturday.
I have it down for Saturday too. We need to verify that. I'll take a look. And if that's the case, maybe I'll come out to test it. I'll take a look and verify. I thought it was Saturday. I'll make sure. Because it'd be sad if I show up on Saturday to Sunday. That'd be really sad. But I'll make sure. But thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Stop.
I drive a convertible, says Weber fan 1234. Most tracks won't allow me to race unless I have a road cage. Yeah, that's pretty common. You should, even if it's a bolt-in, explore it. It's for your safety. All right, guys, we've been here for about an hour now, and I want to be able to just come in and say hello to all of you, my friends and family from all across the globe. Thank you so much for Hyundai and Drive Shop for really providing such an amazing vehicle. I look forward to all kind of vehicles coming out of the Hyundai stable, especially on the EV realm, making EVs fun. By all means, if you guys haven't tried, don't be a stubborn Bisimoto pre-2018 that was just all anti-EVs. It is a wonderful, amazing environment. It's a great world, and we can appreciate as enthusiasts all things EV, all things petrol, and a combination of the two. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Look forward to seeing you soon, and have a pleasant balance of the week. Take care, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.